Hey everybody, it's Ashley, your Norwex independent consultant, and I'm coming to you from my kitchen with my beach hat on, ready to go for another summer Norwex hack. So I want to talk to you guys all about the fresh produce spray. So I love this. We use this year round. This was a game changer. It might have been one of the first consumable non-microfiber products I ever purchased from Norwex, and I was so excited that I got it. And now we use it all the time. Even when we travel, we go to the lake for the weekend to go boating, even just going to baseball tournaments. And I know like hotels, we might need to run and get some more apples or oranges or something. I will stick a bottle of this in our suitcase, so I always have it ready to go. So it's liquid. I like to have the pull top on it. Some people prefer to just spray their produce. So if you're cleaning things like broccoli or cauliflower or a giant head of lettuce and you just want to clean the outside of it, cut that off and keep doing like row by row, it comes with a spray nozzle as well. I typically use it majority of the time with a bowl of water to soak things like berries, grapes, strawberries, blackberries. I like to dip my bananas actually in it. A lot of times people don't think about those fruits that you necessarily peel away on the outside. There's still bacteria on the outside of things like bananas. Watermelons, when you're going to cut them, your knife is going to go through that rind into the watermelon. So if you don't clean the outside of your watermelon and your cantaloupes, then you're introducing the bacteria from the outside of your produce into the fruit that you're going to be eating. So that's where it's great to have that spray nozzle on it, because you can spray the outside of your watermelon, wipe it off. I usually use either my kitchen cloth or my Enviro cloth, whatever is handy for that time period, and we're good to go. So with this, it says use 15 milliliters and 16 ounces of water. I won't lie, I'm not the greatest at measuring out things. I'm more of like an estimator. And so I keep a kid's allergy little medicine cup here. So this is probably like 20 mils. And I fill this up twice. Now I'm using a glass bowl today just so that you guys can see the bottom of it when we're all done. But typically I have like a aqua colored Tupperware bowl that I really like to use to, it's like perfect size to do lots of berries and that kind of thing. So I will tell you, this one glass bowl, or one bowl with two of the little medicine cups, I guess, full of produce, I will be able to wash my grapes, my strawberries, and my raspberries. And we're talking like big size versions of these from Sam's Club. If my water starts to get too nasty, because every once in a while, especially with strawberries, which I'm going to demo here in a second, strawberries are absolutely gross. If I read once that they are the dirtiest produce that you can buy ever. And it kind of makes sense, because if you look at it, there's lots of like little divots, lots of little places for dirt, grime, the pesticides, whatever it was that was used on the farm where these were grown. And then you have the transit, then you have hands touching it to pack it and that kind of stuff. So you want to make sure that you're removing all of that bacteria, grime, grossness, the waxy coating on the outside of grapes, so that it's healthier for you to eat, but also a win-win. When you're removing that from the outside of your produce is going to last longer. So that's a game changer for us, because if grapes actually were to last a full week at our house, it would be a miracle, because the kids just love grapes. We eat a lot of grapes at our house, but it will extend the life of your produce. So what I'm gonna do, I've got my bowl of water. I put in 2 of the medicine cups full of my produce wash, and I'm gonna use the netted cloth to put this in there. This is gonna be like my strainer. So I'm just going to cut the tops of my strawberries off and toss them into the water. So this is the awesome thing about this produce wash. You don't have to do anything with it. So literally, you're just going to allow it to soak. So when I'm coming home and I'm cleaning all my produce, a lot of times what I do is get a bowl. The first thing I do is get a bowl out, get water and the fresh produce wash going. I dump in whatever container of produce I get out first, and then that way we're good to go. It's soaking. Recommended for, 30 seconds is all it needs. Obviously, I don't pay attention to the clock. Usually what I'm doing is moving on to do other things. So while these are soaking, I'm washing apples with my veggie scrub mitt, or I'm peeling carrots or cucumbers or peppers, whatever it is that I bought for the week for us to munch on when we're hungry. So it's a time saver too, because you can, you don't have to mess with it. It's going to do the work while whoops, wrong one, while you're doing other work. So it is super helpful. I keep this on hand, like I said, all the time. And it just makes it nice to be able to, trying to cut these fast, to be able to move on and do other things while the produce is soaking. Think a lot of times I get questions of what do you use for the produce wash and what do you use for the scrub cloth? There really is no right or wrong. If you wanted to clean each and every one of these strawberries with the veggie scrub cloth, go for it. Probably wouldn't recommend it because they're pretty soft. You're gonna end up ripping a good portion of the skin off of it, but it doesn't mean that it wouldn't necessarily work. It's just I wouldn't recommend it because it's gonna probably ruin the berries. So I do all of my smaller fruits. So my berries, my grapes, like I said, I'll dip my bananas in here, get the bacteria off the outside of those, and then I just lay them out to dry. I just dropped a bunch of those. We're gonna leave the rest of those on the ground. So now that I have these all in here, what I like to do is just agitate it a little bit, just so I make sure that they all are down in there good. And then you're gonna set this bowl aside. So you don't have to do anything with it necessarily if you don't want. Like I said, you're just gonna allow this to soak. So we're gonna set that aside for just a minute. And I wanted to tell you a little Norwex hack about countercloths when it comes to produce. These countercloths are awesome to put in the container. So if you watched the video where I was showing you how to clean the cucumbers with the veggie scrub cloth, I'll cut all my cucumbers, put them in my container. What I do is fold one of these up like this, and I will set it right on the top of the cucumbers and then put the lid on tight. I will then put this in my refrigerator. I also put these in my grape containers. Strawberries you could do, but I don't necessarily, because usually we eat strawberries right away since they don't last terribly long. But any of your produce, your lettuce, your carrots, your celery, broccoli, things that are gonna get soggy if they get too much moisture. The point of putting one of these in there, and you wanna put it in dry, is that it's going to absorb the moisture and the gases that are put off by the produce, and therefore it's going to, once again, extend the life of your produce. And so it's a game changer using this in your produce bags and containers, because it really will extend the life. You might notice after a couple of days that this is pretty wet, and all I do when I notice that is toss this in my dirty laundry basket, or I rinse it out and start using it as the scrub cloth that I use for the kitchen counter. Grab another one and I'm ready to go again for that. So I really like to do that. I also keep one of these flat in the bottom of my crisping drawer in the refrigerator, because then that way if there's any extra humidity that's getting in, it's summer, the kids are in and out of the refrigerator a lot more because they're home and need cold beverages, and so this will help absorb that extra moisture that's coming into your refrigerator that's harming your produce and causing it not to last as long. So we're gonna kind of fast forward back to this. So this has been soaking for a while now, and pull the green stuff out of here. What's awesome about this netted dishcloth is that I can grab all four sides and I won't have to pick each berry out one by one. So what I'll do is I'll take this, I'll rinse this off, and these will be good to go. You can set them out to dry if you're needing them to be dry. I usually just stick them in my Tupperware container and then let that sit out for a little while. We can munch on them while we're finishing getting things picked up, and we're ready to go. They're good and clean. So I just want to show you up close. That water that used to be clear is now cloudy. There's a lot of sediment, a lot of debris, little pinkness from the berries itself. But just think all of that, and it's kind of hard for me to show you. I always try to do this. The coating, the waxy coating on the outside of fruit like floats on the top of these produce bowls. So I will show it to you from far away. You can see all the sediment kind of up against my shirt there. That's dirt and grime that if you weren't washing your produce ahead of time, this is what you would be ingesting, and that's absolutely disgusting. So if you haven't tried the fresh produce wash, make sure you add it to your list and get some in your home quickly. Thanks, guys.